I think we've officially entered the era of Braun Strowman.
That's right. It's now, and it's no longer the Roman Empire. It's the
Thank God.
Braunpire. The Braun panties match. No, that would be a different stipulation altogether. I was saying before we came on air that Noam Dar should be part of the Braun act, so they can go between Braun and Fox, and they could just like scream that, and then like Alicia could get annoyed at it. But of course, this is the War Report, brought to you by the all-new TagMeADate.com, the one and only dating site for wrestling fans. We are still the one and only wrestling dating site for wrestling fans, which is nice to know. We are a unique concept, and the website is really good. I like the way it looks now. Version 2, as they say, version 1 was obsolete and deleted, and then we replaced it with a wonderful version 2. So V2 is delightful, and does not have mustard.
That's right.
So lots to talk about.
Boy, do we.
I haven't been here. I know I dropped in when we were on when I was in Orlando from Hogan's Beach Shop, brother, and that was a great place to go if you're in Orlando. So I dropped in. I haven't been here since WrestleMania. A lot has happened since then. I don't know if you guys had a show or not last week, because I said, yeah, let's do a show, and I fell asleep with the phone in my hand, and I woke up at 9:30 still holding the phone. And when I opened the phone, the last thing that was there was your messages. So it was the official old man moment. I was like, I'll just sit right here. It's like, I'll just close my eyes for a second. Next thing you know, I was out for 3 hours. It was no good.
We didn't do it last week. Nope.
Right. See, I had a feeling because of Passover, we have, a couple members of the tribe, and then
a couple Hebrews.
Tribe by a couple Hebrews and Shebrews. Yeah, there we go. A couple Hebrews and Shebrews there. So we took a high holiday. Ayo. So we should probably talk about. I don't even know. There's so much stuff that's happening.
I think we should start off with SmackDown Live, and then, because it seems that almost everything that's been happening is happening in that order. It started with SmackDown, and then on, right? Because well, actually. We weren't on the week before, I guess, to talk about Raw.
There we go. So we can kind of encapsulate the last couple weeks here. But I heard something interesting, and since you mentioned SmackDown, the rumor is friends of yours and mine, Mr. and Mrs. Mike and Maria Bennett, may be appearing on the SmackDown Live roster.
Well, I want to clarify something. According to PW Torch, just a few moments before we came on the air live, they're confirming that Maria Kanellis has signed and is on her way to SmackDown. Now, I didn't see anything about Mike being in there, but I think it would be a damn shame if you don't bring in the Miracle to be with Maria and put them together on SmackDown, because they are just, I mean, listen, they're married, so they have that bond to begin with. It's almost like The Miz is as good as he is right now because of Maurice, because she brings out this extra confidence in him that just makes him to the point where Eric fucking Freeman is a fan of The Miz. I'm still in shock over this.
It's happening.
But he has become a fan because, and I think Maurice is a key part of it, and I think Maria does the same for Bennett, and they're both just awesome people. And I hope it happens. I wish them all the best. They belong there. They really do.
I'll tell you what, I want to see that mixed tag match.
Yeah.
Any of those pairings in a mixed tag now would be an interesting kind of husband and wife thing. Mike certainly is enhanced by Maria. Not that either aren't good individually, but it's like peanut butter and jelly. You might like one, you might like the other. You smush them together, and it's a pretty good act. So I think it would be unwise to put, for example, to put him in NXT, where he could definitely be a top guy in NXT. But that's it's the option of, well, do you want to go down to NXT without and basically start fresh there, and then have to start fresh again when you get eventually called up to Raw or SmackDown, or do we want to throw this guy right into the fire, sink or swim? Because they've been easing all the indie guys in for the most part, aside from AJ. Even Nakamura went into NXT. Joe went into NXT.
He's really the only one.
Yeah, they all. So this would be really not unprecedented, but it would be a more unique situation if Mike jumped right to the main roster. I'm not saying that he couldn't do it. I'm just saying that that it bucks a trend.
You know what though? But I would totally be okay at that point with having both Maria and Mike come into NXT.
Right, that would be fine too if they went to. I think any show except for Raw or 205 Live would be unwise for them to be on.
Oh God, can you imagine them on 205?
Oh, can you imagine them on? Wait! I don't even watch this show, but I
don't
imagine Mike and Maria on Total Divas.
I think it would be amazing. I think it would be amazing because Bennett is so fucking funny, and Maria is. I mean, I could watch her for hours, and she's a sweetheart.
You would watch her butter toast,
dude, without question. But I mean, I've gotten, I've had the privilege of being able to spend some time with her over the last few years because we've done so many shows, and we've just happened to have tables pretty much next to each other, and she's always just been the most amazing person. She's the kind of girl that she could still be setting up her table, and a fan could have gotten in early and go up to her. And she always has a smile. She never says no. She always takes that picture. She'll make a conversation. Like, she'll spend time with you when you stand online. She's just a one of a kind. I mean, she's great.
There was a show about 2 or 3 years ago in New York, and a young gentleman in his 20s with special needs got an autograph from Mike and Maria before the show, and then went up into the bleachers to go watch the show. Unfortunately, during the course of the show, the picture slipped in between the thing of the bleachers and got lost. Nobody could go down underneath it and get them. So at the end of the show, we had someone tell Maria what had happened, and she didn't charge him any money. She didn't complain. We said, this gentleman, needs a replacement. She came. Her and Mike came right out. Autographs, pictures. It was a nice experience. Whereas somebody could have just said, "Hey, you know what? They paid their $5 or their $10. I don't care if they lost it. That's
And there are guys that would do that.
Yeah, and there definitely are jerks that could do that. Luckily, they are few and far between. But Mike and Maria are not one of of that group. They are very, very good people, and it much like watching the Hardys come back at WrestleMania. I'll be very happy to see Mike show up wherever it is, whether it's the Smackdown, whether it's the pay-per-view, or whether it's on a Tuesday night, or however they decide to bring the Mike and Maria brand, so to speak, onto television. I'll be interested to see what exactly their plan is for their debut.
It sucks because they obviously can't do the Miracle.
Well,
I'm sure TNA or Anthem or whatever.
He's been used, but here's the thing. If it's a copyright thing, there's precedent for Mike Bennett using the Miracle when he was like 18 years old. It was his first indie wrestling name. So they don't have any real I suppose they can make a case for it, but as far as I'm concerned, they don't have a stake in it.
I mean, with what they're doing to the Hardys, I wouldn't take anything away from them.
And that's another thing we can talk about, because I heard
it too.
Yes. These are all rumors, so we cannot say that they are fact, but we can certainly speculate.
Reckless delightful rumor.
Yes.
Real quick though,
Yes,
Wrestling News Source is saying that Maria and Mike are backstage right now.
Yes. That is a reason.
So there's a chance that they're coming out tonight on SmackDown Live. Giddy up, hello.
Yep.
But that also doesn't
Wrestling
mean
News
both.
Source
Maybe it might.
They were backstage.
Well, now hold on. Them being backstage doesn't mean shit. Does it say that?
This is
let's
true.
say Maria. Let's say what PW Source is saying is true, and Maria's signed. Just because Mike's backstage doesn't necessarily mean he signed a deal yet. So we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, and they could just be there to negotiate.
I don't want to too much information, but I'm just saying it's confirming right now that they are both backstage.
That's good. I mean, that is wonderful news. A little birdie told me that a very large, height-wise member of the Northeast Wrestling roster may be showing up in the state of Florida I'm trying not to give too much away because I don't know if it's official or not. But let me just, as I said,
I already have a guess.
He is probably the tallest member of our roster, and he's going to be taking a nice little plane flight to Orlando. So congratulations to him. When that story actually breaks, we can comment on it. But very nice to hear.
Am I allowed to speculate?
You are allowed to speculate, absolutely.
Because the first person that came to my mind, even before you said the tallest, right away I'm going with one of the greatest, nicest guys I've had the honor of spending time with. And I'm hoping I'm right that it's Donovan Dijak.
That's who I was thinking too.
I would say that it is not a bad guess.
All right.
I cannot say more than that because I don't know the details, but it was kind of I didn't hear it directly from the horse's mouth situation, so I take everything with a grain of salt, but this person doesn't steer me wrong. So I tend to trust this particular person that told me, so I'm hoping that they're correct. And if that's the case, when it actually becomes news, we can talk about it. I'm very excited for it.
Why don't we do this? How about you reach out to Dijak and let's see if we can get him on the War Report podcast.
Or try and squeeze some information out of him?
Let's try and squeeze some fucking info out of him. And maybe, just maybe, we could be the ones that break the story of the next future heavyweight champion of NXT.
For real, though. To backtrack, if you weren't in the state of Connecticut and you were one of the 300 or so people that was at the Northeast Wrestling Arena in Bethany, it was a very good show headlined by Cody Rhodes versus Bobby Fish, which was a hell of a match. But before that, Flip Gordon, who is on his way up and is going to be one of the biggest. He is going to be one of the biggest stars, period, in the next 5 years or so. That there's no question in my mind, unless like he gets hit by a bus or something. I don't know.
My only fear, Vince, is he comes up
injured. Right?
No, not even injured. They're going to throw his ass on 205 Live because of his size, and that's
but you know what? He can get past that. He's a guy like, and I wish they would do this with Cedric a little bit more. Cedric got down to 205 to make 205 Live. He used to sit around 230. He doesn't need to bulk back up. I think he looks better at 205, but I think that he's still big enough to compete with those other guys. In the the U.S. title, Intercontinental title, whatever situation. So I'm hoping that that's another guy. And this was years ago, I saw it. I'm like, man, if somebody gives Cedric the teeniest bit of a push here, he's going to go to the moon. And already he was over, with the little things he did with Alicia and all that. I hope they do more for him.
I don't know what contracts are like right now currently at Ring of Honor, but I got to tell you, man, if they're going to be bringing in Mike Bennett, if they're going to be bringing in, hopefully, let's say Dijak and Flip eventually, they got to start really seriously considering Taven.
I don't know what his situation is.
If there's somebody that deserves at least a shot in NXT, I mean, Taven's, you talk about another stand-up nice guy who has paid his fucking dues and has done the thing. He's another one I'm a huge fan for, and I hope he's given that opportunity,
He had, a couple years ago, I want to say about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, he got something with NXT, or was it even, at that time, I don't even think it was NXT. I think it was still FCW. And it was just honestly, it wasn't the right time for him.
Well, listen,
everyone
has their time. Look at AJ.
Because seeing what happened since then, sometimes they say getting fired. Not that he got fired, but you know what I mean. When they say, "Oh, sometimes you get fired, it's the best thing that ever happened to you." Well, they didn't sign. They didn't sign him to a deal, so maybe it's the best thing that ever happened to him because he did the Ring of Honor thing. Then he's in Japan. He's wrestling all over the world.
He's doing it the right way.
He decided, he wasn't just gonna work a couple spots, learn that WWE style, and then just gas up on HGH and hope somebody noticed him. Which seems to be the route a lot of people that's the shortcut people take. They're like, do the yay boo punches, learn the shoulder tackle, no sell the shoulder tackle, you shoulder tackle me, I'll bump off the ropes and shoulder tackle you spot. There's like 5 or 6 things you can learn and then get gassed up on HGH and then make like you're a wrestler and try and get signed by WWE. But that is not the route that man took. And it's, I love seeing him back out there. I'm so glad that he's healthy again.
Yeah.
It's too bad that TK is now injured.
And you know what, too, actually, if it's not Dijak, the only other person that it could be, and he's another one that I hope gets his opportunity. I know he had a tryout already, and that's the big giant teddy bear himself, Wrecking Ball.
Oh, Wrecking Ball. Listen, he is on their radar. Whether or not he'll go to them right away, I am not sure.
Well, I mean, do we know anything? We know he had the tryout because he took all the pictures of him being there.
He was there, and they were on the WWE website and everything. They interviewed him. So,
right.
Yeah, here's the thing. I feel like there are some guys that WWE looks at and goes, we could have him in NXT and have him in NXT for X amount of time, and then he'll be ready for the main roster, maybe. Or they could go with the same guy. This is a guy that we will leave in the hands of capable promoters and make sure that they book him in the right kinds of matches and keep him healthy and keep him creatively towards the top and relevant in whatever promotions and get his licks in on the indies, but always have like Finlay or Regal or somebody keeping an eye on what he's doing.
You know what, Vince?
Then when he's ready,
you're saying.
pull the trigger.
I get it and I hear you, but you know what though? Guys like Wrecking Ball and Dijak and even guys like Warbeard, guys like that and Dijak and all.
Yeah.
These are the kind of guys that Vince McMahon salivates over.
Mm-hmm.
Because his ideal picture of a world champion is somebody the size of a Wrecking Ball, Dijak, or Warbeard, and that are as agile as they are for being that size.
Absolutely.
So I feel like they would be the guys that would really be on the fast track. I don't think these are guys that they would bring into NXT and then 4 years later we see them on SmackDown.
Like a Ty Dillinger situation.
Exactly. I can see these guys being in NXT for a year and a half, and then they're on SmackDown. Because the way it obviously seems to be going is that NXT is now the breeding ground. This is where they mold you, they develop you, they give you your character, you develop it, you see if it works, then they move you to SmackDown. And then if you can cut it on SmackDown, then you make it to Raw. Because at the end of the day, to Vince McMahon, Raw will always be the number one. It will always be. So it's like it's NXT, God, I hope I get to SmackDown, and then it's, oh my God, I made it to Raw.
Well, you notice he got all the shit that he didn't like off of Raw onto SmackDown now. He finally figured that out.
Right.
He's like, let the marks watch SmackDown. That's like his thing. So like he's like, oh, we're great. They can go watch that show. I'll book the show I want to book on Monday night.
Well, so you just kind of opened up the door with the shakeup, and I think because we weren't able to be live last week, we should quickly not. And
I don't hate it. I don't hate the shakeup.
Well, now here's my thing. I agree and I disagree, but my disagreement is very minimal. I do like the shakeup both for Raw and SmackDown. I think they were smart moves, and I will explain why in detail. But the only thing that I was a little bummed about, I guess you would say, is that going into it, I was expecting the two podiums, the general managers, a match, blah, 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 what we're used to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it, too, and again, for those of you that watch Total Divas, which, by the way, I was on last week, you will cheap plug. Don't get me wrong. If you sneezed or coughed, you missed it. But I was on there. But in any event, when they showed behind the scenes of the first draft they did, when they did the first draft, with the SmackDown Live,
right.
And the boys and girls in the back, with the exception of a very small few, truly did not know where they were getting drafted. And I don't know, to me that kind of made it more exciting because there was some real to it. You know, there are real life couples that were freaking out saying, oh shit, like we may see each other now only once a week if they move us.
Like recently married Renee
Naomi
and Dean.
Well, or yeah, Dean and Renee, now they're on separate brands and they just got married, so that sucks for them. But, you know, it's just, it kind of took away a little bit, I think, for me, the realism of it, because the guys all knew where they were going and what was happening. But with that being said, I was happy with the moves that were made. A little surprised that AJ didn't go to Raw and Roman go to SmackDown, although I am happy.
Yeah, I'm happy
that they are already talking about WrestleMania 34. Yes, a year out, they plan or they have an idea of what they're projecting their main events to be. And on the Raw side, unfortunately, I'm sorry, but they are talking Brock Lesnar, which is with versus Roman Reigns. Now, if that holds true, unfortunately, that means Brock will be holding the title, I guess, predominantly for the entire year. And once again, we have a champion that is only showing up once in a while. Well,
that's why we've got the good old Intercontinental Championship.
But that still bothers me like it did last time.
Yes.
This was always my thing, and that's going to start up again.
21-time Intercontinental Champion Dean Ambrose, ladies and gentlemen.
But what I will tell you is that the rumored SmackDown World Heavyweight rumored match for WrestleMania 34, which should absolutely, positively steal the entire fucking show, and the reason why I am so fucking happy he stayed on SmackDown, they are talking the phenomenal AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and if that happens, holy shit, it's gonna be bananas. Bananas.
I wanted to make a bunch of really stereotypical, like, karate movie sounding noises to celebrate how excited I am. I realized that wouldn't play well in 2017. So needless to say, I'll just forego that and say, holy shit, if that actually happens, that would be listen, any match they've already wrestled has been a hell of a match. So why would the next one be any different? This one will be on the biggest stage.
Sells WrestleMania for me.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That match alone sells WrestleMania for me.
100%. I mean, I said it out loud and I got goosebumps, and that tells you something. And you know what else? Fucking Shinsuke, man. Let me tell you, you know that you are over when you stand in the ring, you say nothing, and the entire crowd just starts singing your theme song in the middle of the promo.
Yep.
And I mean, this fucking guy stood there, and all he said is, "You want to know who I am? I am Shinsuke Nakamura," and the crowd went fucking apeshit. And then, of course, he beat Ziggler's ass. And, you know, here's the other thing, too. And I'm jumping around a lot, and I'm going to give other people a chance. But I got to say this. I've been seeing a lot of fucking people online saying how disappointed and stupid they think it is that Shinsuke's first feud on SmackDown should be against Dolph Ziggler. And I have only this to say to you people. Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah, that's a good feud.
Dolph Ziggler sells better than anybody in that entire locker room 100% of the time, and he is going to make Shinsuke look even better than he is. It is going to be magic. It's going to be a great story. Shinsuke is going to go over, and
he's going to kick his head off. Dolph is going to figure out a way to dislocate his neck bone to make the move look better. Like he's going to die.
Up the rampway.
Yeah, he's going to kick him all the way up the ramp.
I mean, seriously.
So for Dolph, too, because Dolph has needed a storyline and needed a good match for a long time. So this is going to be great for both of them.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I agree. I mean, that feud, you people just need to shut the fuck up and let it happen.
What do you mean, you people?
Ziggler could have flying around more than the ref did last night.
That's right.
Did you see that bump the ref took flying out of the fucking ring?
All right, so
oh my god!
So the ring implosion obviously.
Cohen is gonna die.
You know, Vince, I did have a question, and I don't know that you know the answer, but I feel like if anyone in this group would know, do you know how they they set it up for the implosion. You know, I always wonder that, because you got two guys that literally wrestled a full match before the implosion. So how do they keep it up? And like, I can't ever figure out how they do that spot, because obviously it's a planned spot.
Yeah. Now I don't know if usually what you have to do to get the ring to fall apart is you loosen the turnbuckle screws up until they're on the last thread. And then at the right time, you hit a spot hard enough where you know that it's going to jimmy the fucking threads out. But that's kind of the old school way of doing it. What it seems like to me is they kind of still do that, because there's usually underneath the ring a set of crossbars that or cables, either bars or, I mean, depending on how your ring is set up. So from diagonals, so post to post. And then there's also the turnbuckles, so you've got the three on each corner that are screwed in. So if you loosen those a little bit, you know, you loosen each of the corners, where to the point where they still function as turnbuckles, but where they are going to fall apart a little bit. And then they must have a mechanism. I would imagine they have some kind of mechanism underneath where they could trigger the cables to come apart. I think it seems like, to me, simplest, you know, explanation would be remote control. Just boom, you know, the cables come off, and then, because it seems very controlled if you watch it. It's not like,
well, except for the ref.
Well, yeah,
that just made it look even better. I mean, that was just amazing.
John Cone looked like he got pushed out of a window.
It was so well done.
Did you see the exclusive footage afterwards?
I didn't, but hold on. What I do want to say is, those two, first of all, the ring implosion was the absolute best way to finish that match, because nobody looks weak in that situation.
Yeah.
And they both performed to the point where they both deserve to be victorious in that match. But I want to just talk a second about, you're talking about Big Show and Braun Strowman wrestling. Like, this wasn't just a brawl. They wrestled. I mean, Braun Strowman with the fucking flawless kick-up and the arm drags and the fucking, just the actual wrestling moves that they did. I was just so beyond impressed. We've seen it out of Braun, and it impresses me more and more every time. But fucking Big Show, man, he's getting older, and he's in the best shape of his life, and he's doing shit like that. My hat's off to both of them. It was a phenomenal main event, and the ring implosion was just icing on the cake. Now, Kat, what was the exclusive footage at the end?
The exclusive footage at the end was Braun Strowman got up and walked out, like, after 2 seconds. Big Show took, like, almost 3 minutes to get out of the ring. He got a thank you, Big Show chant from the crowd. He was actually crying from the reaction from the crowd.
That's awesome.
And Kyoto and another rep, I don't remember who it was, but they had to actually carry Cone out of there because he was actually hurt.
Oh, he legit got hurt. That sucks, because it looked great.
I think something happened. Like, they were like, they literally had one arm around him and were each on one side lifting him out. And Kyoto, when you hear him he goes, that fucking hurt. And you can hear it in the
There you go. That's all you need to know. Oh, shit.
A standing ovation when they got to Gorilla.
But Show was in tears, literally, like, you know, hunched over and everything, sliding out of the ring and everything, and the entire crowd gave him the pop-up thank you, Big Show.
Oh, that's
was
nice.
like,
well, no, you know what? But he deserves that, man, and that's awesome, because you guys got to remember, too, the change that we've seen in Big Show now in his body is because, ultimately, the fans started chanting, please retire. And that gave him the motivation to kick his own ass and get in the gym and do whatever he did to get those abs and be in the best shape of his life. So
we helped. No, that's an awful way to put it.
Well, but listen, you know what? I mean, it was. We can call.
Are you saying we collectively fat shamed the Big Show?
And we saved his life.
And we saved his life. Yeah, we didn't fat shame him. We fat assisted. I don't know. How would we put that?
But, you know, my hat's off to them. And then did Braun Strowman, I heard something that Braun Strowman tweeted or Instagrammed, like, something to Big Show, like a thank you. I didn't read it or
yeah, he said it was something like, it's a night I'll remember for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Best moment of my life, thank you, Big Show.
Yeah.
And it's literally a kid suplex. It was cool.
You know, a lot of times we sit here and we talk about the writing team and Vince and how they just ruin things, or they do horrible things with a storyline, or even trying to build momentum for somebody and they just do it horribly wrong, and we're always so negative. But man, are they hitting a home run with Braun Strowman. They are doing everything right with him. They're not missing a beat. They're building him properly, and he's becoming the most agile monster we've seen in a long time. And he could be the guy to ultimately fill the shoes of Big Show when he does retire, and we know that time is coming before Mania. So this is the last year run of Big Show. I mean, unless something changes, but for what we know,
February.
Oh, is that what they're saying? February. So I mean, this is coming to an end for him. So I welcome it, man. And I remember when Braun first came on the scene, and I was just not all that impressed. And maybe it was because of the whole Wyatt deal, and I don't know, but in the end, they've just done everything right with him, and I'm very impressed.
And here's the other thing you have to remember about the Big Show. His second match ever was for the world title against Hulk Hogan at Halloween Havoc.
That's right. I remember
he wrestled one single indie match just so WCW could see if he could work or not.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, we'll go with it. So the fact
wasn't that when they were promoting him as Andre the Giant's son?
Yeah, and they were really scummy to promote him as Andre the Giant's son. Yes, you remember that correctly.
I do. And he even came out. And he even came out with the singlet with the one black strap. They did it all, and quite frankly, it was a great idea. As shitty as it is, it was a brilliant idea.
Right? Oh, it definitely made him.
I can tell you, when that happened, I was, young enough to think like, oh my God, did he have a son? Like, there was a part of me that, you never know. So,
especially in wrestling, everybody has a son. But so I'm saying it's great to see that. It's true. Everybody's got a junior or a third or whatever at this point, or a mini of themselves, like a midget. But it's good to see that he came. He started from nothing, but in a main event spot, and ended up living up to that expectation.
Well, I mean, listen, you're also given an opportunity, your first big time out, and you got Hulk Hogan putting you over. I mean, that there is that's your train ticket to the express lane right through the roof, because you're taking out the icon of professional wrestling, So, that was just right place, right time, right moment. Good for him. And he became the Big Show, which, I mean, it's going to be sad when he officially retires. And real quick before we continue on, because we still got so much to talk about, and it's already halfway through, but we should quickly acknowledge another tragic loss to the wrestling business. Yes. And thoughts and prayers go out to Roman Reigns and the entire. Somebody else say the last name, because I never know why. I know why. Thank you. I didn't want to say it wrong, but. To the whole family, from everyone here at the War Report and tagmeadate.com. It's a sad day. Rosie, one of the 3 count or whatever the hell they were called.
3-minute warning.
3-minute warning. And then of course, the superhero in training. Do we know what the cause of death was? Was it a heart attack? Yeah, that's what it seemed like, because there was a picture of him and Roman, and he looked very, very bigger than he did when he was wrestling. So,
I heard that he had gotten hospitalized back in 2014 for what is related to this particular death.
Wow.
Yeah,
and that's kind of also a thing that for the guys in that family, maybe not a wake up call, but a alert to go get checked out, because I mean, I'm friends with Alpha Jr. on Facebook, and I see like him and Lance wrestle, and they're not overweight, but they're big guys too, and that's just the way they're heavy set. They're built that way. They're
Samoan. That's just
right, exactly. So, but you hope that there's not an underlying thing here, because I know that Yokozuna had his problems and Umaga had his problems with drugs and alcohol and all that, but I mean, is there something else there that maybe there's a heart problem that they don't know about yet, or that maybe they do know about, and obviously it's not public knowledge because it's kind of creepy to know people's medical information, but hopefully, it's something that this younger generation, Roman and Lance and Alpha Jr. and those guys,
and Nia.
Right, and Nia, I mean, geez, yeah, you hope they all are aware of whatever it could be hereditarily, and are doing the best they can to manage it and hope that, something like that doesn't happen to them. The best way, I mean, you never know if it's a heart attack or something like that. You literally never know if it's going to happen or not. So managing it is really all you can do, is just, best of your ability, to not let yourself get that.
Yeah, because that was even tricky thing, because I forgot all about that. Jamal was Umaga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I forgot all about that until I started watching 3-minute warning videos. I was like, holy shit. So like, they're both gone now.
Yeah, he was.
And they were only
yeah, Umaga was the best. I loved Umaga. Rosie was so good with Stacy and Shane doing the shit gimmick.
They made the best out of it though, and they really did a great job.
They really did. That was because
I enjoyed that. Yeah.
It was goofy, and they knew they made it fun. Like, they didn't go into it like, oh, I hate this, and you can tell they hate it, and they're not buying into it. They were very much into it.
Said at the Hall of Fame, Kurt said, "Go with your, embrace the silliness."
Yeah, and that was, I mean, because he could have been a dead serious, I'm an MMA whatever wrestler guy, and fizzled, but he took it a completely different direction.
Yeah, Shane tweeted a picture of him with him today and everything, and he goes, I lost part of my storm.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I saw that.
And it's
Shane Helms. Shane's been posting a few things on Facebook today, so well wishes to him, because he was very close to him too.
Well, a lot of times too, when you're put in a situation where you're in a tag team or a faction, or
you travel together,
right? A lot of times you travel together because you want as much of that real chemistry as you can to be portrayed in the ring, and spending time together is going to get you there. A perfect example of that is oh shit, I'm blanking. American Alpha.
Yes,
because when they first got put together, they weren't necessarily, feeling each other, and they weren't, really vibing. And then over time, and they worked together, and then next thing you know, now they're the best of friends, and they're just a home run on TV. So, it does make a difference. And,
totally.
Yeah, totally.
A lot of the industry though, like Piper called it, a fraternity, if you will.
Yeah,
for sure.
Very much so.
Yeah,
that camaraderie and everything in the locker room.
When we do these conventions and we see them interact with it's great to see. It really is.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's especially the guys that maybe haven't seen each other in a while.
Right.
Catch up. It's always cool.
When we got to see Maven interacting with people he hasn't seen in years, it was awesome.
Yeah, that must be great. I can't wait to see that guy. I got to make time and make sure that I'm available for that Rhode Island convention again.
Coming back to Providence next year, bud?
Yeah, well,
I think
Maven's funny, dude. So I call Maven and I go, hey, are you down for a weekend road trip to Rhode Island? He's like, I'm always down. Why? What's up? So I was like, I can get you booked in 2018 already. He goes, God, Jesus. I wish I knew you years ago.
What a great compliment.
And but yeah, so he's in. So I'm going to cover his hotel, and we're going to bring him down. We're going to do our split at the table. But
is that literally a year from now for real?
Yeah, 2018, and they've already sold out almost all the vendor spots already.
What date? What's the date?
I believe it's June 2nd or June 4th. I have to double check, and it's in Rhode Island. It's FanFest 6.
So it's 5 hasn't even happened yet, or has 5 already happened?
I think 5 already happened. I think.
This year.
The last one they did that we were at.
Was that one was 5? Okay, I didn't know if they did it every year.
And it was very cool because Joseph reached out to me privately, and he's like, hey, I'd like to work with you guys again. If you can bring somebody, I'll give you the table for free. So I said back to him, I said, so I have absolutely no money obligation to you if I can bring a talent. I just have to cover my talent. And he said, yeah. I fucking called Maven right away, and I was like, dude. He's like, bro, this is awesome. So, and Stacy's all excited, not to make anyone jealous over there, Kat, but Stacy is traveling. She's picking Maven up, and they're traveling to Philly this Saturday, so you can come check out at the old ECW Arena. Maven will be with Tag Me a Date, signing autographs, doing pictures, and we won't be hard to find. Because we will be directly right next to the Nature Boy Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat signing for the first time together ever And there will also be a Broken Raw tag team champions in the building as well, Matt and Jeff Hardy, as they are still able to fulfill their obligation.
Delightful.
So it will be delightful, and I'm hoping even with their contract that Stacy will be able to work a little something out with Matt, but we'll get more into that as I can get confirmation, but we are working on a little something.
Nice.
So what time is Stacy picking me up then?
We want listen. This thing starts at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So she has to leave the house at like 5:30. I was like, Maven, not getting up and out of the house. She has to put her face on. It's taking me a day. She's like all crazy. And the thing is, too, she's like, I was like, Maven, you're going to hate me, bro. He's like, what's up? And I was like, you got to be up so fucking early for the show in Philly. He's like, I don't do early. I said, I know. I said, but this thing starts at 9 o'clock. He's like, damn. He's like, all right, I'm in. I was like, yeah, it's going to be a long day. So, well, yeah, so we got some great stuff. Maven's all excited. It's going to be a great time. So
nice.
He's the absolute best. He actually texted one of the other day going, where's your report card? He didn't send it to me yet.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
That's very cool.
Like, I want a report card.
That is so nice that he's checking up like that.
He's a really great
He
stand-up
texts
guy.
her at least once.
Make sure she stays out of trouble.
He's like, you didn't get detention because of me this week, right?
Oh, man.
That's
he knows
hilarious.
the gimmick. That's great.
Only twice. She only gets detention twice.
Oh, well, that's good. That twice is, the whole year? Like, okay,
Yeah.
That's good. That's very good. That's, God, probably beats my average.
No, sorry, no. 3 times because she Rocky Balboa at somebody,
Oh,
so I'm lying.
You know what? Good for her. I'm sure they deserve
Some
it.
guy, some older boy grabbed her and she decided to go Rocky Balboa on him and punched him in the stomach.
Good.
Absolutely, that's fantastic.
Don't put your
And then
hands
when
on her.
Yep, and when I got the call, she came home from school and thought she was going to be in trouble with me. I go, what's up, Balboa? And she goes, you're not mad at me? I'm like, let's go practice some more.
There you go. All right. Good
Maven
mom,
and I
yeah.
will take a road trip to the school if we have to.
Right?
Future women's champion, right?
Maven and I will take a road trip to that school if we have to.
I told y'all what that boy called her in class and everything like that. I was not having
If that is.
No.
that. I told her, I said, you go I told her she could go kick his ass, and I was like, if you got a problem, I said, I'll call Maven and have her do it.
Wow.
That's what I told her.
That's funny as hell. Oh.
And he said he would.
Wow. That's really funny.
I told him. He was lit.
He's going to go help beat up a little kid for you.
So AJ Styles going after the U.S. title. Kevin Owens being on SmackDown, and clean shaven, pretty much.
Yeah, that's weird.
That was a little weird. It took some getting used to. It's still going to take some getting used to.
Yeah, man, you guys we're all members of the Fat Face Club. You know that facial hair makes everything look better.
Yes, absolutely.
That's why
Right? Yeah, that's why that's why I got it.
I can't see AJ Styles beating Kevin Owens and taking the U.S. title because I feel they're kind of just biding some time to get AJ back in the title picture because
but did you see the main event tonight?
What's the main event?
The main event's a fucking like 5-way match for a #1 contendership, and Sammy and Jinder are in there. So we officially live in a universe where AJ Styles is the #1 contender to the U.S. title, and Jinder Mahal could potentially be the #1 contender to the world title.
Wow, really?
After giving Finn Balor.
I know, right?
I don't even know what to say to that. Like
Nobody does.
When the fuck did anyone decide to make a decision that he's a world champion material? I mean, he's obviously not going to win the fucking match. I mean,
He's going to eat the pin, yeah.
But to even make him think that he's worthy of a shot is mind-blowing to me.
You know, we were having this discussion.
I'd rather Bob Bronsky or whatever in the match.
Clint Bobsky.
Whatever the fucking name is. I'd rather see him.
Jim Jimerson, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now listen, I had somebody.
Bring that refrigerator Perry. That's probably more
Refrigerator
entertaining.
Perry. Oh, the fridge. But I had someone on Facebook who is half Persian, or Lebanese rather. Sorry, I don't want to get this wrong. He's half Lebanese, and he put up that he's a big fan. He's a big fan of what Jinder's doing recently, meaning that he used to be kind of soft-bodied. He didn't have the cut physique. He wore the turban. He had this really short haircut. He kind of looked really stereotypically like Indian or Persian or whatever he is. You know what I mean? Like really just a stereotype. And now he still retains that, you know, this is my culture kind of thing, but it is more of a distinct character with, you know, this longer haircut, this different haircut. And then, of course, whatever he's doing, listen, I'm not going to question the guy's methods, but he is fucking ripped. I'm becoming more of a fan of him.
Suspension any day now.
Oh, Jesus. Could you imagine? That shit's going to glow in the dark when it pees out of him.
I mean, listen, dude, he's ripped. Listen, he's ripped. I get it. He looks like he's, you know, whatever. But is he good enough to be considered in contention for a world champion?
No.
I mean, I can see a middle card match.
Yeah,
but he's not a main event guy.
No, I think, honestly, now that he looks the way that he does, and if he can maintain that, and I'm not saying, you know, just snort HGH off the countertop right before your match or anything like that, but if he can maintain a good physique like that and keep up the work that he's doing, if they gave him a mid-card push a little bit and then maybe built him up, in a couple years, maybe he could be a contender. But yeah, right now, I think he would be really well suited for whatever U.S. title, Intercontinental title, somewhere along those lines. Because here's the thing, that's where he would sink or swim. See if he can really carry this shit by himself. And if he can, move with it. And if not...
So I just saw a picture of this match, and it looks like Dolph Ziggler's in this match as well.
Right.
So why wouldn't Shinsuke be put in that match? I'm not saying he's ready for a world championship, but you could easily have it branch out where Dolph Ziggler and Shinsuke take each other out and just wrestle each other to the back or something, you know, whatever, because... there's something you could have done there. And that's not to say Shinsuke is not going to distract Dolph in this match or, you know, who knows. But I just, to put Jinder Mahal when you have talent on that roster that's main event worthy, I mean, unless with this
Steve
draft,
is very
are we
upset
out
right
of them? My mind is blown, Vince. My mind is fucking blown that Jinder Mahal is in a main event for a chance to win the World Heavyweight Championship on what I was considering a better show overall than Raw, and this makes me question my theory a lot.
I see Harper taking the win.
Oh, Harper could win. What was that, Kat?
I said, who's next? James Ellsworth?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Bite your tongue, woman. Bite your tongue.
That's probably
Harper to me. Harper makes the most sense considering, regardless of the outcome of Orton Wyatt.
Yeah, I agree. Harper does make the most sense.
And I'd be okay with Harper. I mean, he's a guy that he's done enough for me where I could see him in a main event. We have seen him in some main events where he's killed it. And, you know, I'm all in for that one. I mean, he is the only one in that match that makes sense to win it.
For sure.
You know, so
Sammy, I don't see Sammy doing, you know what I mean? Like, as much as you know, you might root for Sammy, I just against Randy Orton, that's just not, I mean, I don't see it going well for him. I don't see it going well for him at all.
But, you know, listen, there's one other thing I wanted to make sure. Go ahead.
Sami Zayn.
Go ahead.
I said every time I think Sami Zayn is, I just think of that face that Kurt Angle made when he was talking to him last week.
So, and here's one thing I wanted to make sure we covered before we wrapped up. It sort of appeared that on Raw, we were starting to have a little new faction going on with Owens and Joe, and then there were thoughts that they were going to bring a third or fourth and have like a new evolution run by Triple H, blah, blah, blah. And now obviously Owens has shifted to the other brand. Apparently, for whatever fucking reason, Vince McMahon is not very high on Samoa Joe right now. So are they putting the kibosh on that whole idea? Or are there thoughts of maybe possibly taking this opportunity to turn Finn Balor heel, which I would be okay with, but are they willing to do such a move?
I
Wanted to see thoughts. I mean, are we out of this new faction? Because I was getting excited to see who was going to be next, and start a new team, faction kind of thing. What do you guys think?
Well, our big problem is the leader of the team. You're not going to see him for a long while. He lost at WrestleMania and he's been off TV. So there's no Triple H.
They're on vacation.
Right. So there's no Triple H. And then the guys are split up between brands. And sure, you could do a trade or Joe could show up on Smackdown, whatever else.
Or you use Joe and you build others. And you leave Kevin Owens out of it. You know what I'm saying? But
they got to it'll only go back in motion if and when Triple H comes back, because the logical step is if he's forming this group, especially with, here's the thing, he basically forced Owens, Triple H forced Owens in a certain respect to turn on Jericho. So you would think they would kind of keep that thread alive, so eventually when Triple H inevitably turns on Kevin Owens can have that match like Seth Rollins just had and win, and that's his big whatever SummerSlam victory or something.
I kind of see what you're saying, but on the other hand, I could also see it as you don't necessarily have to have Triple H there pulling the strings, because if Stephanie's there, she can be getting the word from Triple H to, do this and do that. So, I mean, in the end, they're always a team and they're always behind it together.
But the other option, which I also think would be good, because I think either of these matches would be great, is to have, like you said, if you start everything with Joe and you have Triple H kind of say, Triple H doesn't have to appear every week, but he could say, Joe, I want you to assemble a team. And then, he gets his hit squad together or whatever.
Well, I'm getting a little worried about Joe, because I'm starting to hear a lot of shit that Vince McMahon is not very over on Samoa Joe, because he feels that he didn't get a good turnout at Access during WrestleMania. And I don't know. Are you guys hearing this too? Because I've heard
he didn't get a good turnout at Access, unfortunately, but
that was the big had when he was coming up, though, from NXT. What was his reception going to be? This was a big issue when they were really
he had a great reception when he got called up. The crowd went fucking apeshit. So what is he doing wrong?
They did, but they were worried about what they were going to do with him story-wise. This was a big debate online going on for a while, and it just seems like they haven't been able to.
But
they did it to themselves, Steve.
Wait. Do you guys actually think the storyline they put him into when they brought him up was a bad one, putting him with Triple H and Kevin Owens? Because I think it was
bad that they didn't put him on WrestleMania. I mean, what are you going to do? What's the guy going to sign? What's the guy going to sign for you at Access? Think about it. If you're going to Access and you've got your WrestleMania program and you want to get it signed, are you going to go to Roman Reigns? You're going to go to Samoa Joe? Are you going to go to AJ? Or you're going to go to Joe? As much as I like AJ and Joe, knowing that AJ was in a match, you're probably going to go stand in AJ's line instead of Joe. They fucking did it, and then that makes Joe look like less of a deal, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. See, it was just another indie guy, so they fucking did it to themselves. They need to treat Joe like a big deal, and people will treat him like a big deal, because when he's on TV, he comes off like a big fucking deal. He doesn't need to. He's another guy like Nakamura. He doesn't need to talk, and he's a big deal.
Listen, he just beat Jericho, so
he's great. He's
phenomenal.
I've been watching him for 10 years, and he's another one of those guys that only gets better with age. Like Jericho, he might look like John Bon Jovi and have floppy dad boobies, but he still wrestles like a motherfucker.
Hey, we're the friends of Jericho.
Yo, seriously, I agree.
Cheer me on, man.
I have a slightly controversial opinion that I've been saving since WrestleMania, and we won't get to all of it today, but I want to maybe touch on it. I'm glad that all the Shield members are back together on Raw, because after 4 years, I think they stink individually, and they need to go back together as a group.
I don't know, man. I don't agree with that.
I think all of them stink at different points, and then what happens is if you have three guys in a faction and they all kind of stink at different things, then it evens it out. It's like the cheerleader effect on How I Met Your Mother. I don't know. I can't stand, like, I just don't like Seth Rollins. I don't like him. I
like Rollins on his own, and I like Ambrose on his own.
I liked Ambrose on his own.
And that's not to say I wouldn't be happy with them getting back together, because I think that would be awesome. But I think those two on their own, I think, are fine. I think Roman needs them more than anything. I think
Dean had a stinker of a match at WrestleMania, and honestly, I thought that match stunk. And then I thought the Baron Corbin Dean Ambrose match stunk so that match stunk, and then the Seth Rollins match stunk. I really did not like Triple H Seth Rollins. That match.
Why?
It was too long, and they did the knee thing way too many times. By every time he hit the knee at one point, people in my section were like starting to like groan. Some people were laughing. It was like, it got to the point where it was like they set the table up and didn't touch it for 10 minutes, so nobody cheered because we were waiting for somebody to go through the table because we knew that was the finish of the match. And It was like, it was all very bump. This is pro wrestling. I don't know. I'm less high on Seth Rollins than I am on Dean Ambrose, but I still think that, I don't know. I don't really like any of these guys individually anymore. They're all kind of and I know that's the cycle of a wrestling fan. You're really hot on somebody for a couple years and then they get old, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Like
Dean Ambrose especially, I think the funny psychotic kind of thing, like, to me it works. I am always entertained by Dean Ambrose. Rollins, I mean, I like Rollins. I mean, there are times I agree, yes, he gets a little annoying, but I think Roman needs those two more than anything. And again, I would love to see them back together. The Shield was awesome.
Roman could also go. I mean, what is this? Remember the Samoan dynasty or whatever? Why didn't they ever pull the trigger on that? That would be a good group with him and the fucking twins.
Yeah,
or maybe Nia. I mean, not that she's got all the charisma in the world, but if anybody have thoughts. I was just going to say, anybody have thoughts on her almost murdering the daughter of a legend?
Let me tell you something. The reaction at the Nassau Coliseum for that was insane.
Oh, Maro.
They apart. You don't even want to hear what they were chanting about her and everything.
That's bad, because I do like her. I think the poor girl, she's another one that needed to go back into the soup for a couple minutes. She needed to stay down in NXT until she was ready. I can't believe
how that bathing suit shot that we found.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that bathing suit thing. Okay. These designers, and I don't know if it's Mikaze, and if it's Mikaze, I'm going to send him a message on Twitter because this is BS, man. The costume designers are putting her in these terrible super shredder outfits, and she looks like she's got a big saddle ass, as Terry Funk would say. Saddle ass. But she doesn't. She posted an Instagram picture about body positivity, and I mean, she's a bigger girl, but she's not she's not obese. She's not fat. She doesn't have like rolls. Yeah, she's just
like curves in the right places.
Right, she's like an average size girl, but the costumes they put her in make her look like a fucking Johnsonville bratwurst. Like, it's terrible.
Justin, look that terrible in real life besides those outfits. See, yeah, Justin's like, nope, she looks good.
Right?
they're not flattering at all. What
no. And I know maybe that's the deal because she's a heel, but still give her, I don't know, just a different costume.
Beth Phoenix was a heel. Awesome Khan was a heel.
Right.
I mean,
and they had, yeah.
I think Kia's outfits were great.
They were the really, really cool looking. And so were Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix always had very nice gear.
Yeah. Go back to Glow and go back to some of the costumes they have there. I mean,
speaking of,
her big ass looks good in those clothes.
Well, Glows, but funny you mentioned Kia/Awesome Kong is Glow is going to be coming to Netflix. I think it's June 26th.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited because I'm a big fan of Allison Brie. Mark Maron's on it. Alex Riley has a part.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me, but hey, I'm excited. Good for him. And yeah, Awesome Kong's on the show. So it'll be a good show. I think it'll be a good show. What was that?
Doesn't Chavo have something to do with that too?
Yeah, he trained the girls and choreographed, I think, the matches. I don't know how much actual
Awesome.
wrestling they're doing because it's I think the story is like Allison Bree's character is coming in to Glow and learning how to wrestle. So I'm sure a lot of it is actually in the gym, and then there's like going to be a little bit of TV segments, but it seems like it's going to be like a behind the scenes comedy with a little bit of the on screen, kind of like 30 Rock.
Autumn is informing me that Smackdown is doing a tribute to Rosie right now.
Oh, well, that's excellent. I'm very glad that they're doing that because sometimes they skip them. But
yeah. Well, on that note, then let's
should
wrap up and let's go check this all out.
see. Well, thank you guys for listening. Once again, this is the War Report brought to you by TagMeADate.com, the first and only dating site for wrestling fans. The all-new version 2 is delightful. Version 1 was obsolete, and this is wonderful. So if you go to TagMeADate.com, you can do zip code searching, search by your favorite wrestler, favorite manager, all that good stuff. We have an instant messaging system very similar to Facebook. If you find a match that you like, you can try to send them an instant message and you can communicate. It's not like OkCupid where it's like messages like emails. This is more like an instant message, which I greatly prefer. So check out tagmeadate.com, and if you want to listen to more of the War Report, go to youtube.com, go to your search bar, type in Tag Me a Date, no spaces, all one word, Tag Me a Date. You will see our channel. You can subscribe to our channel for the upcoming shows. You can also see our archive of past shows by clicking on the videos tab. And if you're really so inclined, you can click the bell and we'll get alerted every single time we go live or have something uploaded to the Tag Me a Date channel. So on behalf of everybody here at TagMeADate.com and the War Report, I'm your host, Vince Barry, and I hope everybody has a nice week. You can catch us live and in public Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. on the Eastern Dial. Thank you very much.